sarva-kāmam.
athāviśat sva-bhavanam sarva-kāmam anuttamam prāsādā yatra patnīnāṁ sahasrāṇi ṣoḍaśa
Hare Krishna. Word over translation. Atha, thereafter, aviśat entered sva-bhavanam, personal palaces, sarva, all, kāmam, desires, anuttamam, perfect to the fullest extent, prāsādā, palaces, yatra, where, patnīnāṁ, of the wives, numbering sahasrāṇi, thousands, cha, over and above, ṣoḍaśa, 16. Translation. Thereafter, the Lord entered his palaces, which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000. Purport. Lord Kṛṣṇā had 16,108 wives. And for each and every one of them, there was a fully equipped palace complete with necessary compounds and gardens. Full description of these palaces is given in the 10th canto. All the palaces were made of the best marble stone. They were illuminated by jewels and decorated by curtains and carpets of velvet and silk, nicely bedecked and embroidered with gold lace. The personality of Godhead means one who is full with all power, all energy, all opulences, all beauties, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Therefore, in the palaces of the Lord, there is nothing wanting for fulfilling all desires of the Lord. The Lord is unlimited, and therefore his desires are also unlimited. The supply is also unlimited. Everything being unlimited, it is concisely described here as sarva-kāmam, or full with all desirable equipment. Om Tat Sat. In this purport, Kṛṣṇā's unlimited potencies, unlimited expansions, like expanding into 16,108 times, was informed. But we can go to next purport also, but it is very lengthy one. In the next purport, it is actually described. Prabhupada writes in the purport how Kṛṣṇā was expanding unlimitedly. So we can go for next purport. The time is very short. It is a very lengthy purport. Is it okay to read? Or translation, next sloka, 31. The queens of the Lord Sri Kṛṣṇā rejoiced within their minds to see their husband home after a long period abroad. The queens got up at once from their seats and meditations. As was socially customary, they covered their faces shyly and looked about coyly. Purport. As mentioned above, the Lord entered his home palaces occupied by 16,108 queens. This means that the Lord at once expanded himself in as many plenary expansions as there were queens and palaces, and entered in each and every one of them simultaneously and separately. Here is another manifestation of each of his internal potency. He can expand himself in as many forms of spiritual identity as he desires. Even though he is one without a second, it is confirmed by the Shruti mantra that the Absolute is one alone, and that he becomes many as soon as he so desires. These manifold expansions of the Supreme Lord are manifested as plenary and separated portions. The separated portions are representations of his energy, and the plenary portions are manifestation of his personality. Thus, the personality of Godhead manifested himself in 16,108 plenary expansions and simultaneously entered into each and every one of the palaces of the queens. This is called Vaibhava, or the transcendental potency of the Lord. And because he can do so, he is also known as Yogeshwara. Ordinarily, a yogi or mystic living being is able to expand himself at most to tenfold expansions of his body. But the Lord can do so to the extent of as many thousands or infinitely as he likes. Unbelievers become astonished to learn that Lord Kṛṣṇā married more than 16,000 queens, because they think of Lord Kṛṣṇā as one of them and measure the potency of the Lord by their own limited potency. One should know, therefore, that the Lord is never on the level of the living beings, who are but expansions of his marginal potency. And one should never equalize the potent and potency, although there is very little difference of quality between the potent and the potency. The queens were also expansions of the internal potency, and thus the potent and potencies are perpetually exchanging transcendental pleasures, known as pastimes of the Lord. One should not, therefore, become astonished to learn that the Lord married so many wives. On the contrary, one should affirm that even if the Lord marries 16,000 million wives, he is not completely manifesting his unlimited and inexhaustible potency. He married only 16,000 wives and entered in each and every one of the different palaces just to impress in the history of the human beings on the surface of the earth that the Lord is never equal to or less than any human being, however powerful he may be. No one, therefore, is either equal to or greater than the Lord. The Lord is always great in all respects. God is great is eternal truth. Therefore, as soon as the queens saw from a distance their husband, who was away from home for longer periods due to the battle of Kurukshetra, they all arose from the slumber of meditation and prepared to receive their most beloved. According to Yajnavalkya's religious injunctions, a woman whose husband is away from home should not take part in any social functions, should not decorate her body, should not laugh, and should not go to any relative's house in any circumstance. This is the woe of the ladies whose husbands are away from home. At the same time, it is also enjoined that a wife should never present herself before the husband in an unclean state. She must decorate herself with ornaments and good dress, and should always be present before the husband in a happy and joyous mood. The queens of Lord Kṛṣṇā were all in meditation, thinking of the Lord's absence, and were always meditating upon him. The Lord's devotees cannot live for a moment without meditating on the Lord. And what to speak of the queens, who are all goddesses of fortune, incarnated as queens in the pastimes of the Lord at Dwarka. They can never be separated from the Lord, either by the presence or by trance. The gopis at Vrindavana could not forget the Lord when the Lord was away in the forest cowherding. When the Lord boy Kṛṣṇā was absent from the village, the gopis at home used to worry about him traversing the rough ground with his soft lotus feet. By thinking thus, they were sometimes overwhelmed in trance and mortified in the heart. Such is the condition of the pure associates of the Lord. They are always in trance, and so the queens also were in trance during the absence of the Lord. Presently, having seen the Lord from a distance, they at once gave up their all engagements, including the woes of women as described above. According to Sri Vishwanath Thakura, there was a regular psychological reaction on the occasion. First of all, raging from their seats. Although they wanted to see their husband, they were deterred because of feminine shyness. But due to strong ecstasy, they overcame the stage of weakness and became caught up with the idea of embracing the Lord. And this thought factually made them unconscious all their surrounding environment. This prime state of ecstasy annihilated all other formalities and social conventions. and thus they escaped all stumbling blocks on the path of meeting the Lord. And that is the perfect stage of meeting the Lord of the soul, Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, please bless me so that I can speak something, so that which is useful to me for my purification as well as for others who can give their valuable hearing, so that I can also they can also give their comments, so that I can also learn from your comments. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So here, the first 30 sloka was talking about how Krishna expands about his unlimited potency.
இங்கே முதல் 30 ஸ்லோகங்களில் கிருஷ்ணர் எப்படி விஸ்தரித்துக் கொள்கிறார், அவருடைய அளவிடவடையாத சக்தி, அதை பற்றி விளக்கப்படுகிறது.
So in the 30th sloka, it was how many palaces were there, and number of queens, and what are the descriptions of the palaces, the various description of palaces given in 10th canto were there, here mentioned to some extent.
10வது ஸ்கந்தத்தில் விளக்கம் தரப்பட்டுள்ள 16,108 மாளிகைகள், ராணியர்கள், அந்த விளக்கத்தின் சுருக்கமாக முந்தைய ஸ்லோகத்தில் ஒரு சுருக்கமான விளக்கம் தரப்பட்டது.
In 10th canto, I think in 69th chapter, when Narada was going to different palaces to see the Lord Krishna's various pastimes, how he is acting, how he is engaging, how his pastimes are happening in each and every palace. At that time, palace's description was given in the 10th canto.
10வது ஸ்கந்தம் 69வது அத்தியாயத்தில் நாரத முனிவர் இந்த 16,108 மாளிகைக்குள் நுழைந்து கிருஷ்ணரை பார்க்கும் பொழுது அவர் ஒவ்வொரு மாளிகையிலும் எப்படி வெவ்வேறு செயல்பாட்டில் ஈடுபட்டுக் கொண்டிருந்தார் என்பதை பற்றி விளக்கப்பட்டது. அந்த இடத்தில் இந்த 16,108 மாளிகைகளை பற்றிய விளக்கமும் தரப்பட்டுள்ளது.
So here Prabhupada writes about what is the definition of Supreme Lord. Like he is full with all power, all energy, all opulences, all beauties, all knowledge, and all renunciation.
பரமபுருஷ பகவானின் விளக்கத்தை பற்றி இங்கே பிரபுபாதர் குறிப்பிடுகிறார். பரமபுருஷ பகவான் அனைத்து சக்திகள் நிரம்பியவர், அனைத்து ஐஸ்வர்யங்கள் நிரம்பியவர், அனைத்து அழகு நிரம்பியவர், அனைத்து புகழ் நிரம்பியவர் போன்று அவரின் அம்சங்களை பற்றி இங்கே பிரபுபாதர் விளக்குகிறார்.
So Prabhupada says that Lord, there was nothing wanting for fulfilling the all desires of the Lord.
பிரபுபாதர் குறிப்பிடுகிறார், பகவானுக்கு சில ஆசைகள் நிறைவேற்ற வேண்டும் என்ற ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட எண்ணமே கிடையாது.
And also Prabhupada says Lord is unlimited and desires are also unlimited.
பிரபுபாதர் குறிப்பிடுகிறார், பகவான் எல்லை இல்லாதவர், ஆசைகளும் எல்லை இல்லாதது.
So then that's why the word was given, everything is unlimited for Krishna, and the word given sarva-kāmam are full with all desirable equipment.
கிருஷ்ணரை பொறுத்தவரையில் அனைத்துமே அளவிட முடியாதது, அதே போல் பூர்ணமாக அனைத்து சக்திகளும் நிரம்பியவர் என்ற விளக்கமானது தரப்பட்டது.
When you go to next sloka purport, Purport writes that how the expansions are happening.
அடுத்த ஸ்லோகத்தின் பொருளுரையில் விரிவங்கங்கள் எப்படி ஏற்படுகிறது என்பதை பற்றி பிரபுபாதர் விளக்குகிறார்.
So Prabhupada says that here the expansions of the Krishna as well as queens happens simultaneously, like plenary expansions and separate expansions.
முழுமையான விரிவங்கங்கள், தனிப்பட்ட விரிவங்கங்கள் போல இங்கே கிருஷ்ணரின் விரிவங்கங்கள் மற்றும் 16,108 ராணியர்களின் விரிவங்கங்கள் நடக்கிறது என்று பிரபுபாதர் விளக்கம் தருகிறார்.
So it is like plenary expansions, swamsa, and separate expansions, vibhinamsa. So two expansions Krishna expands in a broad way.
ஸ்வ-அம்சம் முழுமையான விரிவங்கங்கள், பிரிக்கப்பட்ட அம்சங்கள் விபின் அம்சங்கள், இந்த இரண்டு வகையான விரிவங்கங்களை பற்றி கிருஷ்ணரின் விரிவங்கங்களை பற்றி விளக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது.
So here Prabhupada says in the purport, saying that the expansions of Krishna in Dwarka is Vaibhava.
பிரபுபாதர் பொருளில் குறிப்பிடுகிறார், துவாரகையில் கிருஷ்ணர் கொண்டிருக்கும் விரிவங்கங்கள் வைபவங்கள் என்று.
So when we come to expansions of the Lord, Krishna is Swayam Rupa, like he is original supreme form.
பகவானின் விரிவகங்கள் என்ற தலைப்பிற்கு வரும்பொழுது கிருஷ்ணர் தான் மூல வடிவமாவார், ஸ்வயம் ரூபமாவார்.
Then he expands into Swayam Prakasha, first manifestation from his form.
அவர் தன்னுடைய வடிவத்திலிருந்து முதல் வெளிப்பாடாக ஒரு விரிவகத்தை ஏற்படுத்துகிறார்.
Then he expands from that. Next stage is Prabhava Prakasha and Vaibhava Prakasha. And Prabhava Prakasha is like the Lord expands almost same, everything is same, the form into many forms.
அடுத்த இரண்டு நிலைகள் பிரபாவ பிரகாசம், வைபவ பிரகாசம். பிரபாவ பிரகாசத்தில் பகவான் தன்னை விஸ்தரித்துக் கொள்கிறார். கிட்டத்தட்ட அனைத்து வடிவங்களும் ஒரே போல இருக்கிறது.
So almost everything is same. Like when you see Rasa Leela, Krishna expanded into unlimited, like 3 billion or 1 billion gopis were there, and Krishna expanded into that many forms. These are all Prabhava Prakasha expansions. When Krishna expands, the same, everything is same. All the form itself looks the same with same features.
உதாரணத்திற்கு ராசலீலையின் பொழுது கிருஷ்ணர் 3 பில்லியன் நபர்களாக தன்னை விஸ்தரித்துக் கொண்டார். அங்கே 3 பில்லியன் கோபியர்கள் இருந்தார்கள். அதற்கேற்ப 3 பில்லியன் கிருஷ்ணர்களாக தன்னை விஸ்தரித்துக் கொண்டார். அனைத்து வடிவங்களும் பார்ப்பதற்கு ஒரே போல காட்சியளித்தது.
So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writes that in Prabhava expansions is like they are working with the potencies, relation with the potencies.
சைத்தன்ய சரித்தாமிரத்தில் குறிப்பிடப்பட்டுள்ளது, பிரபாவ பிரவாசத்தில் அங்கே அந்த செயல்பாடுகள், விரிவகங்கள் சக்திகளோடு தொடர்புடையதாக இருக்கிறது.
So when it comes to Vaibhava expansions, it relation with the excellences, like different feelings, different emotions.
வைபவ விரிவகங்களை பொறுத்தவரையில் அது பலவிதமான உணர்வுகள், மனரீதியான உணர்வுகள் சம்பந்தப்பட்டதாக இருக்கிறது.
So Prabhava is talking about Rasa Leela, everything looks same. But when it comes to Dwaraka Leela, where Krishna expanded into multiple forms, like 16,108 forms, where